Welcome to the gameplay video of the Lobotomy. It is a new board game that features horror themes, survival, cooperation and action RPG, but you know that from our Kickstarter campaign. Right now we want to focus on how playing this game feels. This is how Lobotomy looks after the setup. Before, you have a choice to assemble each quarter with a different style. Later, the characters get out of their solitary confinements in the middle, and soon their paranoias kick in. On the character card, you will find the basic statistics like health, number of actions per turn, attack rating, defense, and imagination. Each Lobotomy character also has a number of mental diseases diagnosed that are defining which set of skills they can use. Schizophrenia and aggression decks have more attack-oriented abilities, while OCD and anxiety neurosis contain more utility and support. The last thing to find on cards is the character's insanity, which represents the level of his or her psychiatric unhealthiness. Patients can become more insane and vulnerable to gain temporary power-ups. On the game board, apart from the character miniatures, we place various tokens. The door tokens slow you down and create dangerous dead ends. The locker and crime scene tokens encourage players to explore and gear up. Soon, also the monsters crawl out of the dark corners of the facility, and the mind. The beginning of the game is also a start of the first scenario. Depending on the difficulty, players will have to go through up to 4 of them to finally face the last boss, Chief Hospital Administrator. In this case, the scenario is a simple one, Constructs Tower. It requires players to defeat 10 monster scavengers, to wake up the construct and wipe the floor with him too. The first to go is Peter Constant. He has 3 actions which can be used to move, attack, use some abilities, unlock doors and open lockers. Peter decides to loot and has to perform an imagination test by rolling a corresponding amount of dice. The higher the result, the more powerful items he thinks he obtained, when in fact he may be just carrying a napkin and some dirt. In the meantime, Arnie decides to beat up a terrifying monster, which in reality can be another harmless patient or even a potted plant. He uses his personal skill to gain additional action at a cost of 1 health. Then uses his last action to attack a monster. The number of the dice rolled is determined by a weapon or lack of it, and dealing damage depends on the attack rating statistics. Killing a monster allows him to reduce a cooldown of one of his skill by 1. After all players are finished with their actions, there comes the monster's turn. You draw a card from the designated deck to find out towards whom the creatures move and where the new abominations spawn. Sometimes a random event will occur, and you will have to act accordingly. Lastly, you check the card for the Chief Hospital Administrator icon, which indicates that he is on the move, and like a doomsday clock is counting off time to the finale. At the end, if a monster is on the same space as a player, an attack is inherent. Peter still avoids monsters and goes straight for a memory shrine. It is a place where characters regain some of their consciousness. They can draw a card from a personalized deck that will be a useful item or a skill connected to their story. Or they will be forced to relive a tragedy from the past, either real or deluded. Do not forget about the scenario. Killing 10 scavengers opens the Construct's tower and also triggers the beginning of the next chapter. It can have you chasing a deceptive clown or meeting the Antichrist himself. Each scenario has a dedicated miniatures, and finishing it gives you access to higher level skills. Also, with every completed scenario, the final battle with Chief Hospital Administrator becomes less formidable. Just watch out for receiving too much damage. If your health drops to 0, you are not actually dead, but rather pacified by the wardens and transported to the Solitary, where you will regain some HP and sanity. On the other hand, such a big fuss raises the attention of Chief Administrator and accelerates encountering him.